That's a big factor. Increased polarization. That's around the world too, America. This is not an American-only
No,
issue.
just Great Britain just recently had it.
Hard.
Hard, yeah.
We see it in Israel. I mean, it's around the world. It's not just here. So there's a lot of factors that are making it difficult.
For sure.
Let's talk real quickly about mental health factors, and then I want to spend the rest of our time on how do we build this as a skill, right? So we don't need to go down through all three of these, but have you thought about different people, Victoria, maybe that come in clinically to your office and how these things really affect their relationships? Because we talk about a person's relationships a lot in therapy.
Well, yeah.
Social support network, social system,
Yeah.
all these cool things. And they're good things, but, how does that they are dealing with clinically affect that you have in their lives? Have you ever thought about that connected to diagnosis and mental
like
health
someone's lack of empathy or
right.
And connected. Well, yeah, I mean, like statistically speaking, like people with autism,
it's a biological deficit.
Yeah, like sometimes depending on the severity
Right.
of the autism, like they just have this inability to have empathy. And yes, sometimes as a therapist, I might pick up on that, and then that could lead me to a autistic diagnosis.
That's a big thing we look for, isn't it?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
or like what, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, you need also, you can have all the assessments in the world for autism, but you also have to have that clinical observation, interaction.
Yeah.
Because that's the lack of interaction. So
Right. Sociopaths have lack of empathy, sometimes that lack of like affect.
Do you ever work with a sociopath?
I don't believe I have.
Yeah. I don't think I have either.
In my
John, have you ever
experience-
worked with a sociopath?
Oh yeah.
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 Like when
I was
they
a bridge chaplain.
Like, did you diagnose it, or were they already diagnosed when they came to you?
Well, they murdered somebody and threw him off the fantail of the Enterprise and laughed about it. Just,
Really?
The carrier.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
we talked about it, but
It's a fascinating thing. This is something that is very rare. I think I can honestly say to you, I've never worked with sociopathy, and that's because it is so rare.
Yeah.
Right.
These are folks that, contrary to what you might see on true crime or misperceptions out there, these are folks that really don't have congruent emotional experience to the situation. Don't be confused. They have emotions, but they're just not
They're not
congruent
With this,
to
like
the
laughing
circumstance.
after throwing
and that's
someone off
psychopathy.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and that's kicked up a notch with psychopathy. And
Yes.
so,
Sociopathy and psychopathy.
right.
Okay.
So many fun words.
I tell you.
Okay, but yeah, there are more sociopaths than there are psychopaths. And that would make
Is
sense.
psychopath an old term, John? I wonder about that
it's
being
an-
interchangeable.
I do think
Is it
in
not
the
interchangeable?
past people have expressed that there are differences between the two.
I wonder.
I can't actually give a.
Okay, well, we're
Answer
going
for
on a
that.
bunny trail,
Yeah.
and but just an honorable mention to, like, these things that people really struggle with.
Right.
When you're struggling with addiction, it consumes your basically your entire spirit, and you're not really dialed into what people around you are experiencing very much. So hypomania, bipolar, just run-of-the-mill depression. Understand that these things, when you're in distress, become harder to really empathize. And that's why you want to get well. You want to be a good parent? Okay, take care of mommy or take care of daddy yourselves.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to more aptly work with people and stuff. So,
Yep.
self-care is non-negotiable for a therapist, right? Like, we have to facilitate ourselves. I hate those low-energy days. I have to kind of make sure that I'm up for this,
Yeah.
So there's a lot that you have to be aware of related to specific mental health. I don't want to short that so bad, but I'm just aware of the time. And
That's
we
okay. I think we're moving on to the bigger part of it, which
Okay.
is like, how do we build it?
How do you build this? This is a skill. This is something that has lots of pressures on. This is something that your internal experience of life inherently probably with insecurities and anxieties and depression has pressures on. So how do we build this?
My favorite thing, and I see you listed it on here, active listening.
Did I? Oh, okay.
Active listening skills. We
Oh,
use
boy.
these little nice little things
Tell
that
me.
most of us have attached
Tell
to
me
our
about
head.
it. Let's get a handle on it.
Oh.
Tell me about it.
What is active listening?
But yeah, I mean, I think by active listening, which basically means that you are listening to understand the person that you're talking to, keyword is not listening to respond. You're listening to
So
understand.
you're not thinking ahead.
Right.
Okay, so Victoria's going to stop talking here, listener, and I'm going to be able to say something in a moment. This is going to be great.
Okay.
She's going to stop, and
But
I'm waiting.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Did you stop?
But-
Can I say something?
See,
Shut up.
See, he's,
Yeah.
yeah.
But that's what I'm
This
saying.
is what
Yeah.
people do normally. The point that I'm making, Victoria, by interrupting you and
Yeah.
being rude,
Yeah. No. Like I get
is
it.
that's the way we operate. Normal conversations are not empathetic. That's a statement I'll make.
Yeah.
Normal conversations are just waiting for the other person to stop so that you could speak. That is not what we're after here.
That's-
And
Sorry.
and we
go
do
ahead.
a lot of this with couples therapy, but that
Yeah.
whole listening to understand what the person is actually saying or what they're trying to express that they're going through. And I think that definitely, like we're saying, is going to help with your empathy skills, because it's going to help you be able to actually hear what the person is saying and be that much closer to understanding, okay, like this is what person is experiencing, and I don't necessarily need to have a response to that.
You can just listen.
Yeah.
The next thing to think about is that we do this in therapy all day long, all the time. It's been mentioned putting yourself in someone else's shoes. Like, if you want to be a more empathetic person and you're listening to this, you really need to stop and reflect and think about the person that you're close to and what their experience is. Put yourself in their shoes. That inherently grows empathy. What about, John, the next one, you think?
What do you mean the next one?
Compassionate
Compassion.
actions. Does that build empathy?
Oh, okay. Compassionate actions, yes, it does, because by doing that, you share into what that person is undergoing. So, let's say if, like Habitat for Humanity, let's give you an example.
Love them. Good shout out.
Yeah.
Good shout out. Well, you're actually building a house for or a domicile for somebody or a family, and you get to share in their experience, and they get to actually model for themselves to a sense that they have to contribute to their own building as well. And so it's not given to them. Everybody's sharing and doing this together. And so the compassion by actions develops compassion, which develops empathy.
You're together in it.
Together.
So what about mindfulness, Victoria? Does that help build?
Well, yeah, because mindfulness is all about being in the here and now, being in the present. And when you're in the here and now, in the present, you're, again,
With someone.
with other people, sharing in the experiences, having that understanding, and which is going to be able to help increase your empathetic skills.
And I guess I want to say adding also self-reflection. So being mindful about just yourself in the moment frees you up to be able to connect and
Yeah,
share.
what can I
and be with
learn? What can I
someone
grow?
else.
How can I
Humor.
grow from this? Yeah.
Humor.
Humor is great. I love that. Good addition.
Yeah, because you can step back from yourself.
Humor connects people, doesn't it?
It
Yeah, we
connects
use humor a
people.
lot in time in therapy.
It really does. Yeah, you laugh in therapy with me. I'll
Yeah.
tell you. If
Yeah.
you don't laugh at some point with any level of meetings, there's something we've done wrong. Because
Yeah.
it's a huge medicine, isn't it?
Sorry.
And it
No,
connects.
I laugh. I hear you laugh. I laugh.
Oh, you hear me laugh?
Yeah,
we hear me.
hear Victoria
I
laugh.
hope
Yeah.
you hear me laugh.
I
too.
yeah.
You're kind of a quiet laugher,
Yeah.
John.
I definitely hear Chris laugh sometimes.
Do you?
Yeah.
I carry. My voice
I
carries.
want to go back too, and that
Okay.
is that it can be. I think empathy is something that's shared. It can be taught. It can be caught. But I also do think there are some people that are preternaturally empathetic. For example, children with
Sort of
Williams.
instinctual, you mean?
Yeah, Williams syndrome. Are you familiar with that? It's a
I am not.
chronological. They have an intellectual, because you said developmental delays, they may be more empathetic
Oh,
mindfully.
okay.
Okay.
I did. You're right. Thank you for that.
So,
skipped
so
over
I,
that.
I didn't want to skip that. So,
Right.
but I think that everyone can learn at some level, a fundamental level, to have some empathy. And
You know what made me think about that, John? It was my next door neighbor who has Down syndrome. Go Jason, love you, buddy. And he is such. I mean, he's it's hard to have conversations per se, like with
Because
the,
he's
the
so
whole
empathetic?
cognition. No, because he's got Downs pretty strong.
Okay.
But I'm telling you what, his empathy, you could just see him caring about you when you're interacting with him. It's really
Yeah.
beautiful. It's really
Yeah.
beautiful because there's just the simplicity of where he is at is he just wants to be there with you and talk to you. And when I get a Jason hug, it's just it's so genuine. It's wonderful, highly empathetic, but very emotionally delayed. Right?
right.
Yeah.
So what and just a perspective is, or from a different way of looking at it is, perhaps that is the natural empathy that we may have in us innately.
Innate.
But,
yeah.
But we put up all these barriers
The
and
walls.
all these walls that go up.
It's funny. This isn't the way the case, but what you just made me think, John, is like, yeah, we have innate ability automatically as humans to connect and to be empathetic, and then we destroy them by putting up all these walls and different barriers and stuff. So the skill sets come in like tearing down our own walls so we can return to being empathetic.
Full circle.
We have to relearn.
We have to relearn in a way. Yeah, we didn't even mention trauma during this conversation, but
Yeah.
you have traumatic life experiences, man. It tears your ability to be empathetic down.
Yeah.
And you have to build that back up.
So then lastly, I think that like another way to improve your empathy is obviously a topic we've hit on is reducing your
the
screen
screen
time.
time reduction reality.
Having those face-to-face
it makes a difference.
in person real life experiences.
I think we squeezed a lot into this conversation.
Yeah, this is a good episode.
Honestly, man. I mean, I didn't realize prepping my brain for this that there would be so much to this topic. I'm going to be honest.
You're welcome.
Yes, ma'am. Your idea was the bomb. We're going to go a mic drop on that. This was Victoria's show. She killed it. She's on point. Love you, ma'am. Thank you for being here.
Yep.
Sir, we'll see you next week.
See
Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.
Stay well. Take
Peace.
care. We'll see you soon.
Blessings.